In this video we will show you how to set up and use our AAC Helper tool. This will allow your AAC software for Windows to use a large number of voices for different languages and if you wish to translate your text from one language to another. So let's get started.
For our first demonstration, we have a standard grid pad device. The first step is downloading and installing the software. So we go to the website address and download it using our web browser. If you want, you can do this on a separate machine and copy this to a memory stick.
Install it checking the option to add the desktop shortcuts.
Allow it to open the first desktop shortcut, the Configure app. This is where you can configure what the Helper tool will do.
The app has 3 tabs. A TTS engine tab, which allows you to choose the text-to-speech engine you want to use. Bear in mind some languages are only supported by some text-to-speech engines. The default is something called G-Speak. There are no settings for this and that's because it's based really on Google Translate. Depending on the final language in Translate settings it will, if it can, speak the string based on the voice system on Google Translate webpage. If you want to do a simple English to translate in common languages this should work just fine. The second tab is Translate Settings. By default this is ticked. You can choose different translation providers here and most importantly the starting, writing, language and the final target language. So if you write in English, set it to English and want to translate your string to Spanish, select that. Note there is a maximum number of times you can use this in a day and it may stop working if you use this a lot. Lastly, the application settings. Here you can define things like whether you are happy it collects some basic statistics like how many times it was run. You can select or deselect this. By default, it caches data. This is helpful as it will speed up your calls to these online services so you can turn it off if you wish. The buttons to copy path of main app and open cache buttons are super useful. We will come to those in a minute. First let's design this tool for a client we are working with.
This is George. He has been living in the UK for many years and primarily speaks in English. However, occasionally his aunties pop round and want to speak in Malayalam, a language of India. He can understand them speak in Malayalam but he can't really write it back. So he wants a way of typing novel utterances and it translating these into Malayalam. We can use our tool to do this. So let's see how.
We open up our Configure app. And we are going to use Azure TTS. We are confident Azure has some high-quality voices in this language that sound great. I won't go into this here, but we need a key and a region. You can get this from the Azure portal. Note, for a lot of users, this will be free. There is a free tier, which is pretty generous on the number of strings you can create a text-to-speech string for. I'll provide links to how to get your key in the notes. So we scroll down and find Malayalam. We can try the voices if you wish by pressing the play button. When it's selected we are done on this screen. Make sure you check the Save Audio File checkbox. It will help cache recordings.
As George wants to translate strings from English to Malayalam, we need to make sure the Translate checkbox is checked. Now we could just use Google to do this, but because we want to make sure we don't hit any free tier cap, we are again going to change providers, and for this use Azure. Note there are other providers. Some translation tools will be better for some languages than others. For example, Baidu will be better at Chinese script and Yandex for Russian scripts. So we are set. Let's now integrate this into our software. For the next step we've made this easier by creating some example page sets, with a button that links directly to the location of the app on your system. You will find it by looking on the desktop for example AAC Helper pages. Double-click on this and open a page that is for your software.
When installed you can try it out. Open up the page, enter some words and hit the button. You will note it takes a little while to go off, translate and get the generated text-to-speech for this language.
Ellavarkkum namaskaram.
By default we have settings that cache this audio, so the step of creating the audio will be faster for the same string. Note translations aren't cached.
So that's a quick overview. For more information and ideas on how to use this tool, check out our web page below.
Thanks for watching.